Good morning. If you're in the market for a teardrop trailer, or if you just want a further in-depth review of the Pando 2.0 by Off Grid Trailers, then this is the video for you. We're going to break down each of the systems, talk about whether or not they held up during my 6-month adventure into Baja, and ultimately whether or not I think that this is the teardrop for you. The Pando, as it sits here today, has been through, I've owned it for about 6-7 months, and it's been through about 10,000 miles. I've driven it cross country from Virginia to the west, and then down through Baja California, both Baja California North and South. The mileage that I put on this were hard miles, very hard miles, hundreds of miles literally of washboard, intense washboard, sometimes 60-70 miles a day of just continuous shaking, rattling, and rolling on the East Cabo Camino that parallels the east coast of Baja on the southern part. A few days ago, I did the unpaved highway that crosses the Baja Peninsula through the mountain range, east to west, or west to east, excuse me, is what I did, west to east. And it was 57 kilometers, about 35 miles of just rock crawling, steep grades, boulders, sand, mud, you name it. If you ever do that, let me know how it goes with any rig. Let's start off with the structure and the frame of the Pando 2.0. One of the things that kept me coming back to the Pando was the simple fact that it's all metal construction. It's an aluminum body, insulated, so 2-ply, one on the inside, one on the outside, insulated between the two. It appears to be about 2 inches of insulation. And it sits on a powder-coated steel frame. The fact that it didn't have any wood or composite product, that alone is something to seriously take into consideration. The aluminum body is a one-piece construction. The top part, this part, the top that goes around the two, so it sits on top one piece, so there's no seams for water to penetrate. These doors is something to take a closer look at. Look at the thickness of the door and the heaviness of the door. I do believe that OGT, Off Grid Trailers, which by the way, they're a Canadian company based in Edmonton, and I believe that they fabricate their doors in-house, which is fantastic. So what I did was I bought these $20 shades just from Amazon, and they work so well. I mean, no problem whatsoever. They fold all the way up like this, and that's it. So what I did was I velcroed to the door. I just cut it just here, and then a little piece here and here, and then one down here at the bottom. So when I want them to stay, just gives you privacy, and it doesn't allow the it's also, there's insulation, and it's held up by magnets. So I recommend those. The window it's fantastic. It's just so easy to operate. All you do is just, it's got a vent, it's got a mesh screen here. Look how dusty this is. I gotta clean it. But all you do is just this little thing here, and then there it is. Now you have air coming in, and you have your guard for bugs and so on, still allowing the air to come in. To letting it down, you just pull these out a little bit, let it fall, and then lock it up, and that's it. Way to go, OGT. Way to go on the doors. Very nicely done. Let's talk about the suspension system briefly. Firstly, this has about 20 inches of clearance. I wanted a teardrop that if my truck can get there, the trailer should be able to get there. It sits on a Timbren 3500 axle-less suspension, which is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This is the standard suspension. A huge fan of this suspension system. It has been a pleasure to tow, and it's withstood incredible forces on this adventure without ever giving me any issues at all. The fully articulating hitch that you see here is an option. I highly recommend it. It should probably be standard, in my opinion. If you buy a Pando, your intention is to take it off-road, where a lot of other trailers just simply can't go. It's a no-brainer upgrade if you're gonna buy a Pando. The front jack here, this is an upgraded jack. It's very easy to operate. It's as you can see here, it's just very heavy duty. The only issue that I've had with the jack is sometimes I can't lower it enough to raise the coupler to match my truck, especially in sand. What happens is, as you lower it, the two front wheels there dig into the sand, and that eats up about 2-3 inches, sometimes 4. So when you go to raise it to hook it back up, it doesn't get up there. So what I've done in the sand now is just put, when the sand is soft, I just put something underneath, and that's fine. But I would not complain if they added one more level of, made it a little higher, especially if you're towing on an F-150 or a truck. I did get the, I don't recall if it's optional, but I think it is an optional spare tire, full size. Let's briefly talk about the electrical system and the solar system. Now, this is not how your Pando is going to arrive. It's going to come with 2 Group 31 AGM batteries at, I believe they're 130 amp hours each battery, so 260 total. And believe that it does not come with any solar. I've upgraded considerably here. This is probably, in my opinion, if the Pando 2.0 has some room for improvement, it would be in the electrical system, specifically the solar system component for true off-grid boondocking. So what I've done is I've removed the two Group 31s that used to sit down here. I've upgraded to lithium ion battery, which is a 270 amp hour battery, which is roughly twice the power of the two AGM batteries that were in there before. If you're just out for the weekend, you know, and you don't have any major gear with you, you know, that you need to charge or run any appliances, then the two Group 31s are fine. I upgraded to the Xantrex 2000 watt inverter. I also upgraded to a Victron solar charge controller and PPT. This thing just does what it's supposed to do and takes care of your charging system. I highly recommend Victron, and I highly recommend Battleborn batteries. On the roof, I have 600 watts of solar panels. These are the rich solar panels, and they're 24 volts. I went with 24 volts because they're just simply better in lower lighting conditions. The way I attached this was 3-inch aluminum tubing to the actual crossbars of the Pando's roof rack. Then I bolted them with carriage bolts directly through the brackets and the frame. I used 1/4-inch aluminum tubing. Total weight of the panels, the hardware, and the aluminum tubing was 130 pounds combined. I drilled through the roof there, one hole, and we'll talk about how I ran the wire, but it was very easy and clever with the way OGT has designed the Pando and its internal wiring system. The Galley. In my opinion, it's the most beautiful, well-designed galley in the industry for a teardrop trailer. I have just a protective cloth here, but it's all stainless steel, one-piece drop-in on the stainless steel to minimize the seams. The friction hinges was a great idea right there. What I've done is I put the things that I use the least in this drawer, in this cabinet right here. I always leave this open, and then I bring down my spices down here from the spice drawer here, which is fantastic. It all fits right in there. I mean, more than I need. So I don't have to keep opening it. I want to use the counter space here for dishes, and sometimes I eat right here. I take them out, and then I just put the lower stuff right here so they can the spice rack can just open and close if needed. Vegetables go in here and dried goods in here. The faucet, it's hot and cold water. It goes up and down like this, and it just works. Good pressure. I've had no issues with it whatsoever. Your water system is probably the most important system on board. It comes with your standard Dometic fridge freezer combination. There's your freezer. One thing I really like is that a standard carton of eggs fits in this one, so it's really nice. Or you can put them up here. Just don't forget to put them back in the box or wrap them before you head down the road. But works very well, uses very little energy. This is your Dometic 2-burner stovetop. Works fantastically as well. You don't need more than 2 burners. I did buy the wind guard that is made in-house by OGT. I do not recommend it. It does nothing. I use it. I've tried to use it once or twice. It does nothing. When it's windy, even a little bit of wind, it literally makes no difference at all. I just end up putting a towel right here and that's how I get by. This is the light switch, and this is 2.1 amp USB ports right here with a battery voltage indication. Believe it or not, these two never get hot, being so close to the burner. Just even when the wind is pushing the heat this way, they just don't get hot. This is a pot storage drawer. It allows you to reach in from the side and grab things, like larger pots and stuff, and it's just fantastic. It works very well. These beautiful knobs here to open and close all the doors on the Teardrop are just fantastic. Not to mention how they look. They look amazing. This is the optional Dometic fridge or freezer. And you do have the option of the Dometic or a Truma. The Truma is slightly larger. I cannot talk about the Truma, but I can tell you that this Dometic has worked flawlessly for me since day one. It's so simple to operate, and it holds a ton of food. I can literally have food in here for 1 month, just in this one, not in the meat I'm talking about. So what I do, guys, is I use this one as a freezer. So I took out the little ice trays. It's just not something that I use. So the way it works is it just slides in and out. So you take this lever here, push it down, and then just pull out your fridge or freezer, and that's it. There's no brainer. You can use these, it does have a USB, which I haven't used, and you adjust your temperature right here. The recommended temperature for this is 5 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the water system. What you see back here is the pump. It just works as intended. I removed the filter and cleaned it out one time. There were just some little shavings in there from the plastic from them drilling, which is normal. You'll have to clean that out probably one time because they will get in there and clog. It didn't clog up, but I knew that tends to happen on new trailers. The shavings, the little plastic shavings fall into the tank. This is your standard 14-gallon water tank, and then underneath, which this is how you fill it right here, is a this here is your optional 19-gallon tank. So 33 gallons, which has just been incredible. Probably the biggest difference from my previous Teardrop. Just not having to worry about water. You do have to switch when the lower tank runs dry or the upper tank runs dry, depending on which one you're using, to the other one. You do it by rotating this lever right here. So right now I'm using the lower tank. I like to use the lower tank first because I can't really see how much I have left in the lower tank. So when the lower tank runs dry, I switch to the upper tank by simply rotating this valve down, and then I use this tank. In this tank you can see the level, so I know it's time to fill up. Let's talk about the propane system. One thing that I needed to upgrade immediately, and I believe that OGT should do the same thing, is get rid of this 11-pound bottle that is just not available anywhere. You have to have someone come out, fill it up, and so on. It's just a pain. So what I've done is I've very simply just call it an upgrade. So there's still propane in here, and I'll use this as an emergency if I ever run out. But what I've done is, you need the adapter in order to attach a longer pigtail to your 20-pound standard propane bottle. This way you can get it anywhere. I mean, pull into Walmart. Home Depot has self exchange, like a do-it-yourself exchange kiosk, a lot of them out front, where you don't have to wait for anyone. Having this one is it's just a pain to fill it up. And I highly recommend that if OGT is watching this, to upgrade to the 20-pound tank. It just makes life on the road much easier for everybody. But I'll include the adapter that you need right here. It's an inverted a flare adapter that you need, and I just set it in a standard milk carton right there for transport in the back of the truck. It's fantastic. It just doesn't go anywhere. It just sits square on the bed. So this one is the original one. I have not had to replace it. So that's 6 months. And that one I've replaced 4 times. So this is what I do when I head out. Obviously I need to disconnect, so I disconnect, and it's wonderful. Look at this. So it comes out of here. I put it through the frame. It was going to here, but now I've disconnected it. It sits perfectly on this little lip here of the 11-pound, and then I hook it through here, and then I plug it back in there. So it's secure, very secure going down the road. It's a no-brainer. That's how you stow that. This is your on-demand hot water heater, and this is your propane heater. Obviously this is the shower head as well, and we'll get into the shower briefly on another video, but it just works fantastically. The shower pressure is enough, and the heat is more than enough. I just love my Propex heater. You know, out here in the Southwest, you don't, people think it's always hot. I tell you what, I haven't been hot, but I have been cold at night. And having this Propex heater just come on and having it be off of propane is just awesome. If you're really considering a Pando 2.0, I highly recommend getting the Propex heater. Without question, it's just something that's needed. On and off switch for the water pump. On and off switch for the ignition system, which is two little batteries in there. I haven't had to replace them, so I don't really know what size batteries. I believe they're 2 AA's. I'm not sure. So let's talk about the cabin of the Pando 2.0. So this is a standard queen mattress that I have. Comes with a little shelf up here as well. I believe this shelf is standard. I'm not sure, but I know they have an optional one that basically folds down. They're like in the corner or something. I chose not to have it. The mattress is just fantastic. It's I believe it's memory foam, but it's I don't really care what it is. It's comfortable. That's what it is. So these shelves are more room than I could ever use. Being a minimalist, I mean, you're looking at all my clothes right here, besides the clothes that I have on now. And as you can see, I can use one shelf easily for myself, and that includes my bed sheets. The way I use this, basically, what I love about this also is that they've incorporated these little side, I don't know, support brackets that the shelves, the doors of the shelves can just sit on them, and you can use them as a table. This here, let's call it your accessory wall. It's easy, it's clean, and it works. And that is the way I like it. Simple. This is your Xantrex controller here. It's off right now, but that's how you turn it on. You push a button and it works. That's it. These are your 2 ports for your heater. That is your intake port, so sucks air in from the cabin, and then this is where your air comes into the cabin, and it'll heat up this this cabin in no time. It does come, of course, because I have the inverter, it does come with a standard 120 volt AC outlet, which I just bought these simple little adapters. I just put them in there, and you have more than you need. It comes with 4 USB ports. More than you need. So there's, what is that, 6 total in the entire Pando. 2 in the kitchen and 4 in here. This is very important, the fan. It's almost a no-brainer. Get the upgrade. It works beautifully. What the Max fan allows you to do, which is, in my opinion, very important, it runs in the closed configuration. So with the lid closed, the fan still works. So when it's raining or you're out on a hike and it starts to rain or whatever, you can close it, and it'll still work. It's got 10 speeds, and it comes with the remote control right there. Interior lighting are these 2 lights here. They were way too bright, and they also hit you right in the eyes when you're laying down. So what I've done was I've taken a little piece of sticky felt, and just cut them to the appropriate length, it allows about 50% of the light in, maybe even 40. And, you know, it just doesn't blind you. It's just too much light. I suppose too much is better than not enough, but it's uncomfortable. And it's, when you're out here in the darkness, it's just way too much light. I highly recommend that OGT put a light here, right here, one there and one there, small, very small light on the shelf underneath, so it doesn't hit you in the face, in the eyes, and maybe reduce this light here to just one. What I was talking about earlier was how I ran the wire from the solar panels to the front compartment. This channel that you see here, that goes all the way from the roof here, is where all the wires pass. It's wonderful. So very simply, I just drilled in here and then ran the wires. They do give you the option of getting a air conditioner. I believe it goes in this top cabinet, in your cabin. I chose that was an easy decision for me. I chose not to get it. It's just air conditioner and a Pando 2.0. Just in my opinion, just doesn't go. It just doesn't go. You're out here in nature, and honestly, I've never been hot. I've been cold. I'd much rather have the storage space than an expensive air conditioner that I know I'll barely use, if that. But to each their own. They do offer it as an option. 23-0 makes a very good product. They make both the shower enclosure and the awning, and I believe the rooftop tent. And as far as those rooftop tents, think about that before you spend that money. In windy conditions, and I'm talking really windy conditions, 30, 40, 50, 60 mile an hour winds for a day or two sometimes. I think you're in for a surprise the very first time that you set that up and it gets windy at night. I think you'll be hoping that the system holds together. Anyway, if you're in a place, in the woods where there's, not much wind, then sure, it works just fine. I went with the standard 180 degree awning. I believe they do make a 270 degree, and the reason why I didn't get the 270, which kind of covers the kitchen as well, is again the wind. This one runs the entire length, all the way to here and all the way to the front of the where the battery and the fridge are, and it's very easy and well built to take down. Let's talk about the purchase experience with off-grid trailers. I dealt with Denny Sexsmith. He's the sales guy over there. Very helpful, very nice guy, responsive. Called me back, answered questions, and knows the trailer inside and out. Again, you're dealing directly with the manufacturer when you purchase a Pando instead of a dealership. Nothing wrong with dealerships. I just like to deal directly with the manufacturer if possible. Purchase went fine. Delivery did have a snag on delivery. It was not the fault of off-grid trailers. The Pando showed up from Canada to Virginia without a customs declaration that you're supposed to obtain, a signed customs declaration, which you're supposed to obtain. The driver is supposed to obtain that, and showed up without one, and without the signature. So I tried, I accepted the trailer, and tried to go register it. And of course, you cannot register that without a signed declarations form. So I had to scramble with OGT. They were very helpful. They quickly contacted the freight company. Within a couple of days, I had my signed form, and I was able to register it. So if you make sure that your driver gives you a signed one, it'll just make your life a little more simple to register it. Other than that, it was a flawless transaction. Let me show you the only thing that I've had to fix after beating it up, lack of a better term, I mean, for the last 4 months in Baja. These screws right here, this one, and this one, go into the fridge, and they're too small. These are the ones that came with the as standard, and this top one was also the same way. The flange, or the washer part of the screw, is too small for the hole, and so it rattled out and it went back in the hole. I'm sure these will come out as well. No big deal. I just replaced it with a slightly larger screw and a much larger washer, and it's fine. Do I recommend the Pando? Yes, I do. The craftsmanship and the build quality is superb. I think it's, for the price point, I think it's without question the best teardrop on the market.